Wondering what the top reasons are for why your VAWA case could get denied? I'm going to talk about those in this video. My name is Ashley. I'm an immigration attorney. I've been practicing immigration law for 13 years. All right, so let's get into it. The first reason that your VAWA case could be denied is if you sent it to the wrong mailing address. USCIS lists on their website the correct filing address for the Form I-360, which is the form that is used for a VAWA self-petition. Make sure you send it to the right place. If you don't, your petition is going to get rejected or denied. The second reason is that your petition is missing required information. So make sure that it is complete and accurate, that the form itself is complete and accurate, and that you've submitted all of the required evidence to go along with your application. The third reason is that you've missed a deadline. So this comes up in two important ways with a VAWA case. The first is if you've missed a deadline for replying to a request for evidence. The second is if you are applying for your VAWA case based on being divorced from your U.S. citizen or your lawful permanent resident spouse within the last 2 years. If you are filing outside of that 2-year period, your VAWA case is going to get denied. All right, another reason is that you haven't established that you have or that you had a good faith marriage with your abusive spouse. So this means that you need to provide more than just the marriage certificate. You need to provide proof that your marriage was legitimate and that you two were married because you loved one another and not so that you could try to, at some point, receive a green card. So this can look like things, for example, of having a joint tax return, evidence that you've lived together, perhaps some mail that you've received at the same address in either of your names. It can look like photos together. Some people will have prior cards they've exchanged with one another for holidays or birthdays, things of that sort. If you have children together, that's a great form of evidence to show that the marriage was in good faith. Another reason that the VAWA petition can be denied is that you haven't established that you have good moral character. So having good moral character is a requirement to file a VAWA self-petition. So if you don't have any criminal history, one way you can show this is by getting your FBI background check and then submitting the results from that show that there is no criminal record under your name. If you happen to have a criminal past, you want to, of course, speak to a lawyer about that to make sure first and foremost that you still qualify to file your VAWA petition. And if you do, you want to make sure that you're providing the documents relating to that criminal history. So the court documentation, which would include the conviction documents like the judgment and the charging document that shows what you were charged with, and any kind of proof that you complied with the sentence that the court gave you and with probation. If you do have a prior criminal past, in addition to providing the documents for that court case that you have, you also want to provide more documents that show that you are still a person of good moral character. So that looks like letters of support from individuals in the community who know you, who can talk about what a good person you are and how you're a good person, if you're a great parent, if you volunteer in your community. It can look like having some kind of certificates that you've received. Perhaps you've attended some classes or you volunteered in your community. You definitely want to speak to an attorney if you have a prior criminal history to figure out what kinds of extra documents you should be providing with your VAWA self-petition to still show immigration that you are a person of good moral character. All right, the final reason why a VAWA self-petition could get denied is that you have not detailed sufficiently the abuse and mistreatment that you experienced in your marriage to your U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident spouse, or you have not provided honest information. So immigration is looking at the level of detail that is provided in your personal statement, and they want to see that because it increases your credibility. They also would like to see evidence outside of a personal statement if it's available, although it is not required. For example, if you happen to have a police report, you would want to include that to corroborate your personal statement, but having a police report is not a requirement for a VAWA petition. It's not required to win a VAWA case. It's simply another type of evidence that can help to prove what you are saying is true. Other kinds of evidence include text message conversations between you and your spouse, where perhaps your spouse is being very aggressive towards you, they're insulting you, they're perhaps threatening you in some way. You would want to include screenshots of that as well if you happen to have them. However, once again, it is possible to file a VAWA self-petition based on your personal statement alone, but it needs to be honest and it needs to be detailed. Immigration is very good at determining when somebody is not being truthful. And especially nowadays, because so many people are filing VAWA petitions for other reasons. Immigration is aware that a lot of people are filing VAWA petitions who don't necessarily qualify, which is why it is extremely important that you understand that you need to be truthful in your statements made in your personal statement, which is signed under penalty of perjury, and that you are providing enough evidence to show that what you are saying is true if you happen to have it outside of your personal statement. All right, so these are all the top reasons why a VAWA petition could get denied. If you want more information on VAWA and whether it applies to you, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And you can also contact us at 760-812-3778.